For me, purchasing beauty products was not that great of an experience. I can remember when I was looking for makeup for my skin, and I had been using an organic makeup that I was getting from a very expensive grocery store. I didn't feel comfortable, like I had an opportunity to ask any questions about the product. And when I finally did get to a consultant and ask them, what's in this lipstick, what's in this, they really didn't know. So when it came to my hair, that was even harder. I would go into the beauty supply, and as you know, it's just aisles and aisles and aisles of product. But what I didn't know, what was right for my natural hair. And again, I was faced with the same dilemma. Who can I ask? Nobody really knew anything about these products. They were just selling them. It wasn't a great experience, not being able to get the right amount of information from the people who I was buying the products from. So that's one of the things that I love about the Beauty Lifestyle Network, is that it's a community of information as well as a bunch of great products that have been proven to really give you the look that you're looking for when it comes to your hair, skin, and body.
Welcome to an episode of BLN Live. My name is Dior. I'll be your host today. We got a great show for you, as always, hopefully. And we have three great guests, expertise in their own area when it comes to fitness and holistic health and just your physical well-being. So before we get into that, though, I would like to thank our sponsors for today. We have Beautiful Brown Girls, one of the largest online social groups in America featuring women of color. So if you are a brown girl and you want to meet other brown women, do brunches and have social conversations online, make sure you check them out. Also, ANAC Pro. They've been one of our partners for a long time. And we are actually doing a show with them called Home Hair Care Series, where experts show you how to do tips to do your hair at home. So make sure you check that out. And finally, we got Central Media. They do all our production and handle all our video, audio, and lighting needs. So make sure you check them out as well. You can go to our site at Beauty Lifestyle Network and check out our partners. And today, though, I do want to introduce you to our all-star audience, our all-star guest, rather. And first of all, we have Chemeka. She's going to kind of help us out and give us some really good, insightful perspectives today. We also have Kendra. Kendra is a physical fitness instructor, as you probably can see. Nice and slender there. And finally, we have Dr. Mumbi. She's a holistic doctor, and you definitely want to pay attention to some of the wise words that she'll have available for you today. And I forgot to mention is that Chemeka, she also is a clean beauty entrepreneur. So she has a great product that we'll be featuring down the line here on BLN. So make sure you pay attention to that. But as I introduce my guests, again, I'd like to thank you, my esteemed guests. I keep on wanting to say the L word, but you know when we talk about if you was in pre-production. Women. The women, my esteemed women guests. So thank you, ladies. So I just said it again, right? Thank you very much for joining us. And I promise I'm going to get broken out of that habit today. So today's topic is, what does wellness mean for beauty? So just kind of started off, in my head, when I think about wellness, I think about those things that are totality of what makes a person, fit, whether physically, emotionally, and spiritually, or otherwise. But we didn't come to hear what I got to say. Let's start with you, Chemeka. Tell me, what does wellness mean for beauty in your opinion?
So for me, wellness is about your health internally as well as externally. So it's about what you put on your skin, products you use, in addition to how you care for yourself, as far as the food that you consume, and just your overall health, just to make sure that you don't have the illnesses that can ultimately occur from certain products or certain foods that you have. So it's basically being whole inside and out.
Okay, okay. So let's hear from you, Kendra. Kind of give us your perspective of what wellness mean for beauty for you. I know you're more of a, hands-on person when it comes to a person's beauty, but give us your perspective on things.
Um, Actually, I agree with what you two said previously. Basically, I feel like as far as wellness goes, when a person can be productive, they can regulate their stress, they can control, their anxieties, and they just have an ability to function normally. They don't have any diseases in their body, they have good mobility, um, things like that. Also, we have to consider, like Shamika said, the things that we put into our bodies, and that ultimately can affect us in the long term. So we just have to make sure that physically and mentally we are fit so that we can live a good, productive life.
Okay. So I think we experienced a little difficulty with your audio here. You got a lot of delay. So we're gonna try to see if we can fix that while we're
Okay.
talking with Dr. Mumbi. So Dr.
Okay.
Mumbi, kind of
Yes.
give me your perspective on this issue as well.
Well, first, I want to thank you, Black Lifestyle Network, for asking me to join in this conversation. We are perfectly and divinely designed, and we are this point in presence of an absolute and supreme intelligence which designed us perfectly. And we must be intensely intentional about what we bring to our body. It is our temple. Our lungs are the organ of our spirit. And of course, when we came to the planet through the wombs of our mothers, we were first spirited. That was our respiration. And every day we must be consciously aware of what we put onto and into our bodies and understand that the laws of existence are always in effect, meaning we should not do anything that would violate our temple, because many people are aware of the law of attraction, which is one of the universal laws. So when you violate your temple, you'll attract violation. So in order to stay well, you must really consider everything that you bring into your environment, your first environment being your body, and know that it is going to be something to keep you optimally performing and in good health. And of course, good health simply simply means your body's ability to heal itself.
Okay. So, uh, Dr. Mumbi, I think we experienced a little technical difficulty with yours as well. I see some delay. So we're gonna see if we can do the
Sure.
previous fix for that as well. So hold tight. So we're gonna go to Shamika while we're working on that. So Shamika, tell me. So what is, from your perspective, are some of the things, the common mistakes you see women make when it comes to wellness and their physical well-being?
So by profession, I am a physician assistant and I specialize in infectious disease. And so one of the things that I encounter is or patients that come into the hospital that are suffering from multiple illnesses such as diabetes, hypertension, end-stage renal disease. And the mistake that I see is that people are not educated in what they need to do to take care of themselves, and they're not educated in the sense of how to prevent disease and illness. People all think that they may be making the right choices, or, oh, it's okay that I can have this cookie or this cake or this ice cream. I don't do it all the time, but, in the big scheme, it's usually like one too many times, and that ultimately leads them to the diseases that I encounter in the hospital. In addition to that, the complications from those diseases. So, again, with myself specializing in infectious disease, so I see a lot of complications. So the patient that comes in that has diabetes, but they have an open wound because and their body was not able to heal itself because of the abundance of amount of glucose that's circulated into their bloodstream. And so that impedes their ability to heal and subsequently can cause disease such as diabetic foot infections. And so that's where I encounter the patient while I'm actually treating their actual infection, that they couldn't heal themselves because of their underlying illness. So making the right decisions on what you put in your body and being educated about food, because food can actually harm you or heal you. And myself, I used to be over 200 pounds and I had illnesses. And so I know, because it's a testament to myself. And I started learning about food and how it can heal me. And so once I made that change for myself and became plant-based, that actually allowed me to bypass medications, because medications are not there to cure you. They're there to, assist you while you're supposedly making the changes that you need to make in order to actually heal yourself. So again, the mistake that I see a lot of people making are just the wrong choices of food that they put into their bodies that ultimately lead to diseases and ultimately interferes with their body's natural ability to heal. In addition to that,
to wellness and relating it to beauty?
I have more mature clients. I would say older, but more mature clients, and I know that some of them don't have good mobility. They don't have
So
good.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kendra. Hold on one second. I think, do me a favor. I'm gonna need you to log out and log back in, and then we'll come
Okay.
back to you on that. Okay.
Okay.
So, Dr. Mumbi, can you hear me
Yes,
fine? Are
I
you?
can
Did
hear
you?
you just fine.
Okay. It looks like you're delayed still as well. Tell you what. Did
Extremely.
yeah? Could you log out and log back into as well? We'll be right back with you.
Sure, I'll try that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh huh. So, Chemeka, I guess it's just me and you for now.
let's go.
Just me and you. I think they had a song about that.
That's
But
one of my favorite groups, actually.
I know, right? So, you know, being educated and kind of knowing, equipping yourself with the right information is very important. Now, do
Mhm.
you find that women in particular seem to maybe sacrifice um, their health for the sake of beauty sometimes? And kind of tell me how that
Absolutely.
manifests itself.
Absolutely. So I'm from the old school. So, now we live in the age of social media, and social media is excellent. But I think that social media actually, um, it gives women a false narrative. And you see all these beautiful women on social media the makeup, the lashes, the hair, the bodies, but you don't see the background of that. And so a lot of women, sacrifice their health by, number one, going under the knife, to have surgical changes to their body, plastic surgery for their face, their breasts, their bottoms, and not thinking about the long-term effects. I know there have been certain artists that have actually come back and, really admitted that, they regret getting, having the surgeries that they've had and the complications that they've suffered from that, so that's one thing. And then, again, the makeup that men use, just all of the chemicals that are found in the makeup, your skin is your largest organ, and the products that you're putting on your skin because you want to be beautiful and all, it actually is being absorbed, through your skin. And so you have to think about all the new cancer hospitals that are going up and all these different, you know, these, commercials that you see about, if you use this product or use this drug, then, then you may be at risk for this type of cancer. So, it's the sacrifices that women make are, for just the sake of beauty. And, not really understanding that there are long-term health effects to that. There are chemicals like called forever chemicals, PFAs, that are found in just about everything, these days. There have been articles that just recently come out about plastic actually being found in the body, from the different products that we use. So it's just a lot of things that, women tend to have sacrificed themselves just for the sake of beauty. And, but in the long term, it's your health that really matters. So,
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think social media has kind of helped confound that problem and making it have a lot
mhm,
more pressure to do things to alter your bodies for your sake of your wellness. Uh,
right.
Kendra, we're gonna go back to you. Can you hear me fine?
Yes,
You
I
good?
can hear.
Okay.
Yes.
It's weird. I still see a slight delay. This is crazy. But
Oh, I'm
we'll.
sorry.
So let me ask. How about you, Dr. Mumbi? Is there a delay with you?
The delay is exponential delay.
Okay. Hmm. Well,
I still would like to contribute, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We just getting the heat up.
yeah.
Let me see. Tell you what. Let's try it one more time. Where you switch
Yeah,
over
I logged
to.
out twice.
Do me a favor. Switch over to your Wi-Fi, both of you ladies, and then try that.
Well, this woman here's Wi-Fi is not
Oh, this. Yeah. I'm
behaving
sorry.
today, so let's
We'll work it out.
see.
So you do that. I'll come right back to you, ladies. To you, women. Chemeka, I think she's gonna kill me
Yeah.
for saying ladies still.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm so sorry, Dr. Mumbi. I've been trained this way. So we're gonna keep the conversation going. So the you know, we know that there's a lot of pressure through social media, and we even had a discussion about this, about how social media is kind of changing how we see beauty. Um, and let me get your opinion on why you think willing a lot of women are so willing to take that risk with their health for the sake of beauty. I mean, I get, if the cost wasn't so great. We talk about all the diseases that you were talking about with diabetes and all these other kind of things. What you think is behind the willingness to kind of put it all on the line for the sake of beauty?
I haven't quite figured that out yet. I know we live in a microwave society. People want that that fastness, instead of waiting for the oven to heat up. So I haven't quite figured it out yet. People, you look at the videos and the music industry, the celebrities, everyone wants their 15 minutes. And I know that some women, they see that this is the way that you attract men. I'm not going to say it's always the right type of man, or it's the right way to attract, a relationship. But I think that's part of, you know, um, nowadays people are making a lot of money on social media from just being a social media model, and these are the types of things that people view as beautiful these days. And so I think it's the combination of all of those factors that make people kind of sacrifice themselves that way. And then just the fact that nowadays you do see that, people saying how black is beautiful and the natural you is beautiful, but it's just not as glorified as, the lace front wigs. And I'm not saying anything wrong with it, with anyone who wants to use it, but, it's not glorified in the same manner, you know. So I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah. So basically, there's a lot of, I guess reward in a sense of attention that's being applied to people who make those kind of sacrifices. So I think we
Absolutely.
got Kendra and Dr. Movie all straight here. So yeah, it looks like it. So we're gonna start back. Go back with you, Kendra. Uh, what are some of the mistakes you think women are making out there when it comes to the wellness and relating it to their beauty? That they're kind of like maybe making the situation even worse for themselves.
I would just say that they aren't moving enough. A lot of people don't, think about physical fitness as a way of having like long-term health. I meet a lot of people who are sedentary. They literally don't do anything. And since the pandemic has happened, a lot of people are working from home. So they're just sitting at a desk all day. They're not moving, they're not getting up, they're not going outside. It's just limited mobility. And they don't realize that that can contribute to health problems later. So I try to encourage, women of all ages to just get up and move, even if it's for 30 minutes a day, even if it's just taking a walk or walking your dog or walking up and down the stairs if you live in an apartment, up and down your street, walking around the block, just doing something so that you can keep mobility in your limbs, you can reduce, mental health disorders and just stay well within your body.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially when you're talking about a time of pandemic where people are staying in the house all day, right? I even noticed with
Yeah,
myself,
it's the
you
worst.
know, I used to go out, 3 times a week to go walking. I found myself sitting at home on the sofa eating
Hmm.
cookies, and I end up getting a little
Right.
pudgy.
Yeah. But it's not even just about your physical appearance, like getting a little pudgy. If you're just sitting and just eating, you know what I mean? You're like at greater risk of diseases, and sometimes irreversible things that you could have prevented if you had just made better choices. So I just encourage everybody to, just consider that. Get up, move your body, get some sunlight, move your limbs, stretch a little, just so that we can keep our bodies as healthy as possible for as long as possible. Because what we don't want to happen is, right now I'm in my 30s. I don't want to wake up and I'm in my 50s and, my bones are deteriorating. That's young, to have bone disease or bone deterioration or heart disease or, I can't lift my leg up or just anything, when you could have started at your age today or where you are right now and then just build yourself up so that you can keep your body healthy. There's a delay. Can I go out? I'm not sure. We lost him. I don't know what happened.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay. We're gonna just roll with that. Of course, that would be the case. The case. Do you guys hear any static?
A little bit.
Yes, a little bit.
Ah. Okay. All right. So, for people who watching this live, you probably think this is crazy, but people who watching on TV, this will be on the editing floor. All right, let's see if we get this straight here. All right, we're all good. Can you hear the sound? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Tell me,
Yes.
everyone put the thumb up. Give me the thumbs up. Make sure I can see your everybody good. There you go. So Kendra, you're looking good. Chemeka, and of course.
Sister.
Oh, sister. Okay, that's a good word. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Sisters.
sisters. All right, I got a new word. All right. So we were talking about, Kendra was mentioned that people need to stay active and move around. And, like I mentioned before, I did find myself as well kind of sitting on the sofa, munching away on the computer. And I think I looked at the screen so much, I think I might have even messed up my eyesight looking at the screen so
Right.
much, at a computer screen. So I totally get that. And, is that the biggest thing, though? Just physically moving? Do they need to, I think when people think about
Yes.
doing any kind of exercise, they always trying to take it to the max where I need a trainer to start. I need to do a full regimen. Besides just starting, what are some of the thing kind of people using to kind of talking themselves just to start moving?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that you need to start with a trainer, because some people don't have the funds to get a personal trainer. There's YouTube videos, or you can just take the initiative yourself and just go for a walk. You don't have to go super hard, especially if you're a beginner, especially if you are used to living like a sedentary life. It's not good to go from 0 to 100, or one extreme of doing nothing to the next extreme of like trying to do it all. So I would just say, build yourself up. Start with, walking. You can do body weight exercises like jumping jacks, push ups, jump squats, just to get your body moving. And then if you feel like you're ready to take, your fitness or your health to the next level, then I would say invest in a trainer, and then they are the ones to give you a specific regimen that will be more helpful to guide you to where you want to be.
That makes a lot of sense because, like I said, I think when you're trying to start to do anything, the first thing you want to do is kind of give yourself reasons not to do something. So
Right.
I kind of like the idea kind of even starting, like you said, with YouTube and going from there. So, Dr.
Yeah,
Mumby,
especially if you're at home.
yeah, I know, right? So, Dr. Mumby, can you hear me fine?
Yes, there's a
There you
lot of
go.
ground to cover since you were able to speak with me live for real.
I
So,
know.
so you mentioned about being how we were raised. Okay,
Right.
that is a key point. How we were raised, because we did what our mothers did, what our grandmothers did, what our aunts did, and they didn't know any better, or if they did, they didn't choose to do something different. Focus on that ish that they call food, because there was a time in the history on this land where there wasn't many options for what was consumed, but we came to a planet that is abundantly furnished with fresh fruit and vegetation. So yes, we need to always consciously aware of what we're putting into our bodies, because you are what you eat. And our cells are only going to perform optimally if they're getting the nutriment that is required. We 80% water. Therefore, everything we consume should be water. 5 years ago, I started cleansing, meaning your natural instinct when you wake up in the morning is to wash your face, brush your teeth. Some people shower, they wash between their toes, between their legs, but then they put junk, and in the trunk is where your heart, your lungs, your liver, all of the vital organs that you need to live and thrive and survive. And junk is put into the trunk. So therefore, that's why you have the deodorants, the perfumes. You're putting um, lotions and things on your body to make you smell good, because your trunk has become a cemetery for the rotting flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of chickens and quails and other birds, where you shouldn't be eating the progeny of another being. Okay? So, because of that, fibroids, the uterine cancer, the ovarian cancer, the breast cancer, that is the animal's justice for you violating, for the violation that happened to it, and then of course you subsequently put into your body. So we have to cleanse internally every day, daily, and be intensely intentional about that cleansing. And of course, I can talk to your audience and some of the uh, guest panelists more about how to go about that uh, off of this platform. But it essentially involves cleansing herbs and the earth, dirt, clay. Uh, if we, any of these people watching have had children, sometimes when some of us, when we were pregnant, we crave clay or chalk or argo starch. Well, that is one of the things that will neutralize toxins in the tissues and get them out of the body. So we have to sweat, of course, because again, as the sister said, our skin is our largest organ, and it's our largest live organ on our bodies. And then, of course, through our breath, it through our bowel. And we have to cleanse from the decades of toxins. So what we are seeing now are people who have been eating, again, the flesh of rotting dead beings, the aborted fetus of chickens, the pus and mucus of cows, milk, um, flour, sugar, consuming alcohol and tobacco, and then people who will market to and poison their children are destined to die, meaning you're marketing to children with artificial colors, artificial flavors, BPA, BHP, and you essentially have an artificial people. So you talk about the beauty aspect, people aren't even consciously thinking about the, what it really takes to be beautiful, and that is an inward. It's an inward practice. It's not an outward practice, because the outward is the canvas that you're attaching things to. So you are you really beautiful, or are you just made up? So you have an artificial people whose thinking has been altered from the chemicals that are preserving these so-called foods, and they're not able to make the right choices for themselves. Women across this planet need to raise complaint, especially Black women here in America, and you're wondering why you're becoming sick. You're wondering why your husbands are transitioning or not staying with you, and then you're having children being diagnosed. Anybody born from 1982 and later being diagnosed with diabetes, cancer, coming into the Holistic Life Center these last few weeks, we've had 21-year-olds with stage 4 cancer. The food is the tool of cellular aggression. And when they go into these doctors, the doctors aren't asking them, most times aren't even asking them what they're consuming. But it is a cellular oppression. It's not always what you're putting on your body. That certainly is a huge contribution, but it's what you're putting into your body that is oppressing the cells and making people sick, ill, diseased, and or dying. And then, of course, on top of that, you're not going to look well or beautiful, since that is, what this network is focused on. True beauty comes from the inside, what you consciously care to put in your body and on your body all the time. Intensely intentional all the time. There's no, oh, I slipped and ate XYZ. You didn't slip. You intentionally did something, knowingly.
I will have to say,
So
it felt like I slipped when I ate those Funyuns last week. I couldn't help myself. You know, so what do you,
that's no slip.
so what do you do when you can't be perfect all the time? So do you treat it like I fell off the wagon, but I'm gonna get back on it, right? You can't just like eat the
Dior,
perfect thing all the time, right?
you are perfectly and divinely designed. So you are perfect. How you treat yourself may not be perfect, but you should consciously, because that's the only body you will ever have. You are an individuation of everything that we see living in this realm called life is an individuation of that intelligence. When I sit and meditate on that, I'm just thinking how wonderful it must be to be a creator and look out and see individuations of yourself in everything: the trees, the gnats, the lizards, the birds, the whales, the elephants, the lions, and everything that you may not know of, the people. But it's the people, the human species, that we kill more of our own species than any other species. We don't exalt the full urge in our living, because we'll smoke tobacco, drink alcohol, we will put dead animals into our body, knowing, well, some people know, doctors certainly should know, that it will lead to cancer or cellular degeneration. And then of course, this time of year, you have people talking about they have allergies. Nobody has allergies. What they have is mucus. And that mucus is blocking the cellular functioning, so that you can either release histamines or the white blood cells that are eosinophils that causing you to sneeze and your eyes run. If anything, you should be happy your immune system is working, and that your eyes are running, your nose is running, and that you're sneezing, because that means your immune system is getting those things out of your system. But people want to block the histamines by taking antihistamines and these other drugs that, are just suppressing your body's natural ability to protect itself.
Okay, you're giving us a lot to think about right here. Let's slow it down for a second.
Good.
Digest this a
Okay.
little bit. So you gave a. I saw a lot of head nodding and amen in the panel there. So
Because it's all true. It's everything that she said is true. And I said before, I'm a testament to it because I was that person she's talking about. I was the 200-pound, 5'2", eating everything because that's what I knew. And it wasn't until I got sick and I went to the doctor and walked away with 4 prescriptions. And I said, I will not take it. And I changed my diet and I learned everything that she's telling you is exactly what I learned. And I changed my life because I was the person taking, Claritin and Zyrtex and Flonase because I had allergies. And I didn't realize it was all the dairy. It was the mucus. Everything that she's telling you is exactly what I experienced, and I'm a living testimony to it. And once I changed my life, it's not going to happen overnight. You were saying that you ate the Funyuns last week. It's a process. You have to make a decision here first. And when you understand it here and understand that that is the only body that you have and you can't trade it in, you can do whatever you want to it, but ultimately it's not gonna manifest the way that it's supposed to. So everything that she said is correct. So that's why I'm not in my head because I'm like, that was my life. And now this is my life where I'm healthy and I take nothing. I eat live foods. I use products that have
Yeah.
nothing in it except for what was created for us on this earth. Because everything we need is here.
so
Everything
I'm
we need is here.
so I'm kind of curious. So let's assume we eat this live, natural foods, and one of the things I used to think when I was younger, if I ate plants, I'm not gonna have enough energy to do anything, or you know, even though I get it, horses eat plants and they're big and strong. Cows eat grass, they're big and strong. But in my mind, as a guy, I played sports. You had to eat, a lot of starches, a lot of proteins in order to get the
No.
energy. That's what my thinking was. I'm just telling you.
No.
I know it's not
Yeah.
true.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking. So I guess my
Yeah.
question is to Kendra. Do you find that people kind of have these same misconceptions about working out? They have to eat certain types of food in order to have the proper energy, and kind of give me an idea of, people who don't eat healthy, how you see that manifesting with some of your clients.
Well, for one, carbs are for energy. Eat carbs. But
Okay.
I am actually a meat eater, so I feel a little like, to hear them talk about this. But um, I have noticed that a misconception that I personally feel, people have is like dieting. They cut certain foods out of their diet and it's actually foods that they need to sustain themselves, like carbs. A lot of people, they get rid of carbs because they think it's going to make them fatter, but that's the energy
It
source,
is.
and you can get your energy from your foods. You need certain foods, but in their mind they're like, I can't eat this because it's going to make me do this, but it's actually the opposite. Like, you need those things. I don't agree with dieting. I encourage lifestyle, like make a lifestyle change, because even though you diet and you cut certain foods out for a certain amount of time, that's only a temporary fix. Like, you have to condition your body and get your body used to a certain lifestyle to get the best results, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could totally get behind that. Um, with the carb thing and trying to decide what foods are best to eat. A lot of this stuff, like Dr. Mumi was saying, we were taught this, right? You know, unless you
Yeah.
did your own research, no one really knows how to properly eat. We all saw the little chart, the little diamond chart or the pyramid chart,
Yeah.
that says you're supposed to eat this amount of this and this amount of that. Dairy is one of the things. Um, so, but as you grow older, you find out that the dairy industry decided to include dairy in the chart, right? And to
Sure.
include the meat industry decided to put the meat in there. So that doesn't mean
Right.
it's necessarily correct, but there's different influences that we weren't aware of, and we just took it for granted, right? So,
Yeah.
right now,
Dior.
yes.
So let me say this, since you specifically named dairy and meat, okay? These
Mm-hmm.
are the target audience here are Black women. One primary reason we should not support industries that are death industries, these are not our businesses, and we should want to give them another dime. The tobacco isn't, the sugar isn't, the alcohol isn't, the meat, and they have never been our businesses. Yet we continue to buy those products that are death products. It is the path of death. And just like Kendra was saying, no, she doesn't believe in diets. Well, die with the T at the end. Very good. It should be a living or a lifestyle,
Hmm.
and fresh green leafy vegetables carry a molecule called glucose. And that glucose, when the system is optimally functioning, is taken up to produce energy in the cells. Adenosine triphosphate is the energy. And it takes a lot of energy to metabolize that they call food. Okay? But when we're getting nutriment, vitamins and minerals from fresh fruit and vegetation, just look outside. We are immersed in abundance of greenery. Even I don't even want to cut my lawn because it's edible. It's mostly edible. So the carbohydrates will turn into sugar, which will make you obese over time, especially if you're sitting and you're not burning them off. But you're going to get the carbohydrate or that energy from fresh leafy greens. And then we should be breaking our fast with fruit. Fruit's the body's natural cleanser. If you're going to get up in the morning and wash your face and brush your teeth, your body is already in cleanse mode. Help to facilitate that cleanse by eating fresh fruit. A lot of it. When you have a big, whatever breakfast platters are called at some of these restaurants, have a big platter of fruit, and that will help to facilitate not only your cleansing but more regular bowel movements. People's bowels aren't moving, they're blocked and obstructed. So there's another issue when it comes to not being beautiful, because you've got all of this waste built up, not just in your bowel, but your cells are being blocked. So there's many levels to this, but it's very simple to be beautiful. And that is it really comes to not just changing what you're putting on your body and in your body, but you got to go back and cleanse from those decades, because just because your bowels did move once or twice a week, that didn't get rid of the stuff that has accumulated, those chemicals that are accumulating in those tissues because of the mucus that's holding on to them.
So I have a question, and this may be, maybe a little graphic for some, but how often should a person bowels be moving if they're eating properly?
So 6 to 7 times a day would be what's normal. You laugh because, yeah, we haven't seen that.
Well, I'm laughing.
Nobody knows what normal is anyway.
I was gonna say 3. But
3.
wow.
I must
I
be
mean,
sick.
So
Three,
I
yes.
think I'm sick.
and I,
Three's a good start. Three's a
and
good
I was
start.
going to say 4.
Okay,
See,
Yeah.
so
maybe this is
there we
my
go.
ignorance.
oh, Dior, we
I don't
got
even
the
know if I
party,
have
Dior.
time to use the bathroom like that. Because I normally go in, read a book.
Well,
Like, Wow,
You want to make
that's
yeah,
that's so
yeah.
so. I'm just my head is about to explode, right? You said 6 or 7 times a day. So
Yes.
I thought that depended on how much food you eat. So if I'm eating twice a day, I still need to use it 6 or 7 times.
Well, it depends on what you're consuming too. And it sounds like, if you're consuming things that your body does not recognize as nutriment, it's going to tuck it away and store away. And then over time, it causes sickness, illness, disease, and maybe eventually death.
Okay, so it all seems like it starts with the food, right? What are you kind of taking in?
It's
What's the main foods and removing rashes and stuff? What kind of foods should you be eliminating from your diet? Let's start with you. Well, I'm gonna ask each one of you, and so name one or two, and then we'll kind of go from there. Let's start with you, Chemeka.
foods to eliminate.
Yeah, give me one that you think should be eliminated.
Um, Processed foods.
Processed foods, okay. And tell us how that affects maybe your skin and maybe some of the outer stuff that people kind of really focus on.
So I'm gonna swing it back and tell you that the only thing you should be putting in your body are living foods. So live food, plants and fruit. That's it. And so when you're doing processed food, that's something that's created in a lab with preservatives and all these other chemicals that your body can't recognize. And so your body processes those chemicals as disease and illness and inflammation. So yeah, eliminate the processed food.
So the processed food, I think we got that. No more Funyuns for me. So let me before I did that, how about if I did it like every now and then as a little treat?
So once you make that decision, like what I said before, when you change your mind, then you change your habits. And so when you educate yourself about food and understand what's happening to your body, then you would learn to treat yourself with a piece of fruit. So that's all
Okay.
the sweetness that you need.
All right. You got me there. No more Funyuns. All right. All right. So Kendra, tell me, a food you think that people should eliminate that kind of hinders them, maybe even in a workout environment that slows them but bogs them down, or maybe just the opposite of what the results they're looking for.
Um, well, I was gonna say processed foods as well because that's really something that I just stay away from. Like I do eat meat, but I'm one of the people I don't eat dairy, but I also don't eat any like kind of processed foods. I don't really like fast foods and things that my body is going to take, longer to break down or my body can potentially like hold on to. So I would just encourage foods like green leafy, vegetables, berries, those are things that I like. And it can also help with, acne as well, because greasy foods, I just noticed for myself, when I was younger, I used to eat whatever I wanted to, and I didn't really have, acne too bad. But as I got older, I'm in my 30s, but as I got a little bit older, your body starts to make changes based on what you've done in the past. So I couldn't continue to eat the fast food because I'll eat a fry and I'll get a pimple on my face. So I would just say, fast foods and the processed foods as Chemeka spoke about.
So is that the fries or the carbs doing that, or the grease from that's inside the fries?
Well, I would believe that it was the grease. Personally, I don't know. I think it would be the grease. But just all of it in general, like how that stuff is made, like mass production and like fast production of the food, it's like that I don't really agree with putting that type of stuff in your body
So
at
let me
all.
ask you. So when someone comes to work out, is there like a food that you can tell by their energy level that they've eaten that they should have been eating before they worked out?
Yeah, and most of the time they tell me like, oh, I had a drink last night, or I went out and I ate too much food, or I ate like ice cream before I came, or I've heard it all. Like,
Mm.
but I tell them, like Shamika said, you have to make the conscious decision, because even though you feel good in the moment, drinking that alcohol or eating that ice cream, you're gonna regret it later. So you really just have to be mindful of like what you're putting into your body and how that's gonna affect your workout.
So, and this may be a question Dr. Mumi can answer. She mentioned that people are drinking alcohol. I know when it comes to skin, alcohol seems to have a drying effect in your body in general, right? Um, kind of talk about that, you know, the effects of liquids that you intake that are good for you and bad for you. And then my previous question is maybe a food um, that people should think about eliminating from their diet.
Well, it is a definite decision to eliminate sugar, but
Mm.
let's keep the language correct. The ish that they call food is not food for us. The only nutriment our bodies recognize and can utilize for optimal cellular functioning is fresh fruit, vegetation, herbs, and water, period. But sugar, if you had me to pick one, it's the number one cash crop on this globe, in the world. It causes cancer, causes obesity, causes diabetes. Before this pandemic began a couple of years ago, the top 10 diseases were the pandemic, but there was no outcry about nearly 1 million people in this country alone dying of heart disease. And that number continues to rise. So you have 3 million people in this country alone dying every year of the top 10 diseases. And most of them are going to be some kind of outward environment that they're bringing into their temple environment that causes that death. We're not supposed to be dying. The intelligence of existence isn't dead, and it isn't sick. And we are children of that intelligence. And we really need to recognize who we are and whose we are, and begin to honor not just ourselves, but be disciples of truth, bearers of light, honor and glory to the lineages we represent, or else we die. We get out to the cosmic, and our ancestors are going to knock us across the cosmic because we didn't do what we were supposed to do while we were here. Oh, and then of course you mentioned the beverages, just water, fresh fruit, excuse me, fresh juices, of course, that you make yourself out of the fruit and vegetation.
Hmm.
But yeah, we that's what we need to feel good, to go into the gym and be able to pump that iron or run those miles. We can do anything if we just do what's in our best interest and consciously care with everything that we do, every waking moment,
Hmm.
not to be a detriment to ourselves, because there's enough people or enough systems out here that are a detriment and wanting to perpetuate a genocide or some death to the people, that the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to avoid those things and to do what's in our best interest at all times, and to consciously care and be intensely intentional.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, you ladies, giving out some great information today, and I feel like this needs to be a series, and I feel like I have to have you back on, especially since we had a little trouble earlier, and you know, this is a discussion that needs to take place, not just a one-time thing, but an ongoing thing, to remind people that there's more levels to this beauty thing. Um, the outside is just one, and the top layer, but the deeper and more substantive part is your wellness. So I would like to extend the invitation for you ladies to pick this up and turn this into a ongoing thing where we can talk about this and maybe go into a little more depth into one of the things, one of the issues we talked about. I think this would be something that'd be very useful, and
I'd be happy to come.
a lot of women may
Absolutely.
appreciate this information.
I also want
Right.
to speak on, not today, but
Yeah,
during our
go for it.
series, mental health,
Yeah. So,
mental
I agree
wellness.
with you because a lot of it, people decide to put themselves at risk because they don't feel good about themselves or they don't
Hmm.
think highly enough of themselves to want to treat themselves like they deserve to be treated rather.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Right.
And I have
and
personal experience with that.
oh,
So,
really?
yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
anything that you would like to kind of share with us a little bit, kind of so people maybe relate to your perspective on this?
Well, I would just say I've dealt with like depression and anxiety, and there have been moments in my life, even up until recently, that I just haven't felt good internally, and it caused me not to want to do anything for myself. Like she was explaining, we can become a detriment to ourselves. So we really have to make conscious decisions and have positive, self-talk, eliminate all the negative, things that we think about ourselves or feeling like we can't do something because we have all the power and we have all the control. So I've noticed that my fitness journey has allowed my mental health to improve in a way, because if you're doing something for yourself, you feel good, you look good, you'll have a better chance at having good mental fitness at the end of the day. So I'm really passionate about mental health, and I see that that's something that kind of plagues our community as well, as much as the food. So that's something that I feel like should be spoken about more. It shouldn't be a taboo topic because it is something that a lot of women go through. But that, just like diseases, bad mental health is also 100% preventable. And there are ways that you can ensure that just like your physical body is healthy, that, your mental health is good as well.
Now, just a quick question, and this is in general to all of you ladies, to women, to my sisters. I'm learning.
Yeah.
So, do you think there's a high correlation between your mental or emotional health versus your physical well-being as well, outside of any kind of medical conditions?
It's all
Yes.
connected. It's
Yeah.
all connected. Your
Yeah.
body is one, and your mental,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
emotional,
a whole
spiritual.
being.
Yeah, it's all connected. So if you're out of balance in one area, it's going to knock everything else off balance as well. So
Hmm.
you have to make sure you pay attention to every aspect of that. And I agree with everything Kendra just said because that was me as well. And it wasn't until I changed my life and changed my thinking so things got better.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And we really have to take into account the violation. When you bring violation into your body, you can expect to attract violation. And any animal that was slaughtered and that we eat off of its flesh went through anxiety, depression, anger,
Hmm.
fear. Every living thing that has eyes exerts a full effort in its living. It knows its kind, it perpetuates itself, it excretes its waste, and when it feels its life is in danger, it will do everything in its power to protect itself, except the human being. Because we have been so chemically altered mentally, we don't know how to respond correctly and directly when our lives are being threatened. And those that threaten is the food, which is the tool of oppression, the weapons of mass destruction, alcohol, tobacco, uh, pharmaceuticals, and sugar. And then on top of that, you have what with those things is when you get into feeling a certain kind of way, you never attribute it to what you're putting into your body and what it went through when its life was taken. We were
Exactly.
told not to kill. We were told not to kill. Yet humans kill more life on this planet than any other creature. We kill more of our own species, and then we'll go and kill another species and feed off of its rotting carcass, because that's the only thing flesh can do is rot. Fruits and vegetation ripen, and they want and they are we came to an abundant planet so that we would have the nutriment that we need to thrive here, and we need to understand our purpose here. That's really the only thing that's going on these days, to understand our purpose. And there's so many things that we're doing that are outside of our purpose. One of the biggest things is going to work every day for a dollar. That is not the intention. And if people just stop working, trust, life would move on much more abundantly. It's just so many things, Dior, that we can approach when it comes to Black women, their health and their well-being. But
Yeah.
if there was no God, you could take the Black woman, and repopulate the entire planet.
All right. Well, we have a lot more to talk about, and we definitely
Yes.
want to touch on all these. Consider this episode, it's like the kickoff point
Preface.
to a brand
Yeah.
new discussion, and a much needed one.
Ashe.
And
Ashe.
I appreciate all my sisters for being
Ashe.
involved in
We
this.
appreciate you. We appreciate you.
And adding your knowledge and wisdom to this discussion. I would like to ask you, lady, or you, my sisters, for one final, thing you want to leave with the audience today. Um, we'll start with you, Chemeka, and then we'll go to Kendra, and then Dr. Mumbi. How about you, Chemeka?
I would like to leave the audience with this one thing. If you change your mind, you change your life. I know people have heard that many times, and just one of the ways to think about, your diet is something that I heard from um, uh, one of the speakers that I've listened to before, and it's called G bombs. So it's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. So if you think about the G bombs, put the G bombs in your body, and that will help you with your journey to better health.
All right. The G
Yeah.
bomb. I guess I need to
Yes.
start adding some
I
more
like that.
beans in my life. All right. So, how about you, Kendra? What do you want to leave the audience with today?
So I'll give a piece of advice that my mom always tells me. She tells me to treat myself like someone I love and myself. And another thing, you can't really physically and your mental and emotional well-being so that you can give that love to someone else. So treat yourself like someone that you love and take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others.
All right, we got an amen on that. All right, Dr. Mumbi, what final words would you like to lead the
Yes.
audience for today?
Sure. You are perfectly and divinely designed. You are perfect. There's too many of us that think we're not perfect, but you're perfectly and divinely designed and designed perfectly. And you are designed perfectly by the intelligence of existence that is beginningless, endless, infinite, and eternal. And you are an individuation of that intelligence. Honor yourself. Honor that which created you and put you into this realm of life because we'll leave this realm if we graduate Earth residency, the school of life, with as we should, as embryonic living immortals, and go on to the next realm. But too many people are dying here, and we need to change that. So remember, you're perfect in divine design. Honor yourself every in every instance. Be consciously aware of what you are doing for and to yourself. Ashe.
Okay. And I guess I'll say something real quicker as well. And I would just like to, challenge everyone who's watching this is to kind of develop your full beauty. They don't ignore any of it. It's beautiful, and for me, beautiful. So that's my challenge to you: expand your vision of beauty. And again, I'd like to thank my guests today. And they all have products and services that you should definitely take advantage of. We have their handles also in the links in the description of this show. So be sure to check them out and explore what they have to offer. We do this every Sunday actually at 7 p.m. On YouTube, Twitter, and on our website at beautylifestylenetwork.com. So make sure you check them out at all those locations. And we also are going to have it available on our network platforms on Roku TV, Amazon Prime, and Amazon Fire. So make sure you check that out. We'll let you know. If you want to know who's coming up in the next episodes or when you can check these out on television, follow us on our different social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also join our newsletter. Go to beautylifestylenetwork.com. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. Network is all about beauty your way. A lot of times people want you to fit into a category of what they think beauty should be. They want you to have hair like this or skin like that or dress like this. We want to give you options and say, hey, for however you want to do your beauty, we're here to help you with that. We're here to serve you with that. And that is the best way to represent your authentic self. And that's what we really want to do. We want you to be authentically you. We want you to be proud of you. We want you to be accepting of you, and we want you to love yourself. And we want to let you know that we are here to help you on that journey.